Hello everyone and welcome back to the KMTRADERS channel. So this is the full market volume 29. Again, essentially we're just going to be looking at all of our charts, give you an up-to-date bias of everything, and we're also going to be covering gold, USD chef and USD CAD for tomorrow, just because I want to give you guys just a bit more detail of where things are heading with that pair. So starting off with the first one, so Euro USD, pretty much I'm using this downwards trend line as a pretty much an indicator for us to switch momentum, because I think that we could be looking at another move to the upside, but for now, you know, I can see it kind of respecting. We could come into this area in the market and then see one more push to the downside before we push further up. So that's pretty much the route that I'm looking out for. If we do push higher and break this downtrend, I will provide an update video for this pair individually, but pretty much I want to be thinking that, you know, we have one more push in store. The reason for this is because we do have a lot of sell-off momentum from here, and pretty much we could see you could drag in a nice fib here. So we do have some respected fibs being shown here, and you can see how respected. We do have a few rejections on here on the 50 fib, so even pushing towards the 60 0.618 fib as well. So yes, guys, I'm pretty much looking at one more push to the downside, and then we could be looking at a nice push to the upside, and then we could look into 1.2 in the long distance future. Of course, when this scenario kind of comes into fruition, we'll start to give more proper targets, but for now I just want to see one move to the downside, and then we can review our next process. So moving on to the next one, we're going to look at NZDUSD. So I'm pretty much using this same outlook as we did from last week. As I mentioned in last week's full market analysis, I want to see retracement, and you know, we found the 50 fib to be some sort of area of, you know, significance. So we can see how price has made a slow move to the upside, and so next week we could be looking at some potential sell-off here. So I'm looking at how price can reject this area, and I will be looking for sell orders into this position, and I am looking for either a possible move to the downside as well to clear out 0.65 as shown here. So that's one consideration I'm thinking about, but I'm also keeping my options clear for any movement to the upside. I know this doesn't really seem as just as possible here, but I'm also looking at this move as well, that this could be a correction move to the upside as well. So if I draw a fib here, yeah, we could pretty much see that we're coming to the 0.886% as well. So I'm just keeping my options clean, and you know, considering that we could be in, you know, a possible bullish momentum move as well. So I am going to consider some bullish scenario as well if we can. What I wanted to do first is see exactly how price plays out this week, and then I'll do an individual video if I think we could be looking for more upside opportunities as well. So the good thing about this strategy is that it's all about waiting for the pullback, so you're not necessarily entering all over the place. It's all about looking at specific placements of the market. So this is why I was saying, you know, somewhere around this area, if it did something like this, pulled back in, I found some rejection, and then, you know, we've got a double top here on a lower time frame, and we could be looking to push into 65 off flat in the next few weeks or so. So that's where I'm looking out, pretty much this route here, and you know, keep an eye out for any short moves as well. So looking at AUD USD for our next one. So for this, I'm using this as a guideline again, the downtrend. Pretty much, you know, that's my established bias. The way I'm looking at this is if we extend this zone here, so roughly just above 0.70. So 0.70 flat, we can see how price has made, you know, it's huge correction state here. If I pull a fib, possibly we could be hitting something, I feel like the 618 possibly, just close, just underneath it. Pretty much the 0.5 is being respected right now, so I'm thinking that we could get, as we saw from this last week, the huge push. We could see some sort of stall, market moving sideways along the pretty much 0.718 or possibly we could come into 72 flat. That would be a nice number if we could get into here. So we get into make a double top, and then we could see a push further lower. I'm thinking that we could go lower than 0.70. That's my kind of route I'm looking out for. But you know, if we do break this trend to the downside, we could be looking at some bullish scenario, and I will keep an eye out for this. And yeah, like I said, make sure if there is an opportunity for an upside move, I will give this you know, a bit further look. But for me, I'm looking at this in a downside bias. Pretty much I want to hold trades into 0.70 and you know, possibly even lower, just a bit lower than this, and then we can look for our next move. So yeah, that's all I'm looking at for that. Our next pair is USDJPY. So I said from last week I was looking at this in some sort of bullish momentum, picking up from last week. We had that sell-off here. I'm still thinking that we could still see price push higher. I'm looking at this into again the long-term target of 110, so it's quite far away. But you know, I want to see price reach our zone here, potentially into, you know, 107 if possible. But I'm keeping out for any you know, possible moves above this zone here. So it's just a 106.6, and see if we could do something like this. This is where kind of I'm looking at. But yeah, I'm pretty much seeing this as still a bullish momentum here. You know, I'm looking at that RSI divergence really much in detail, really oversold from this point here. So I think we could be clawing back this move. And that's why I'm thinking, you know, we could be looking at push higher. If we take our fib, you know, we do have a 0.382 fib being respected, and you know, this could be the catapult that this pair needs, and you know, pushes higher. If we do fall lower, then we do fall lower. Again, we can always look at some selling opportunities as well. There's no harm in looking out for the, you know, scenario B. I think what I'll do throughout the week is keep an eye out if I do see any possible sell-off scenarios, and yeah, I'll give you those levels in the market once price has kind of gone a bit more forward through the weekend, and we can go ahead and see what happens. So moving on to our next pair, EURJPY. I'm looking at this in a downside move. I want to see the next Fibonacci level being respected. So the 0.618 fib, which is this box here, so just above 122 flat. So we can see that we've had, you know, some rejection of 124. See price pull into this area, then this will be, you know, my next step is to see how price reacts to this level. And from here, I want to see price catapult to the upside, and you know, it could be a very interesting week for EURJPY in the long run if we can get this final move. And you know, you could also be looking out for this as another significant trend, just to keep an eye out for this level in the market. So as an intraday level, if we do break above this downtrend, you know, we can start to look for some buying opportunities. So we could use this previous support / resistance as a potential buy off opportunity. Again, you know, this is just plain zone to zone, but you know, if you really want to pick off the bottoms, you could really look out for this final move to the downside. And you know, we do have some strong overbought condition here, so possibly an oversold condition in the RSI in confluence with price moving lower than this low, so lower than 122.5, potentially into 122. All these psychological confluences are you know, adding up as we speak. So we have the 618 fib, we have the psychological level being respected if possible, and you know, we are in a downtrend, and we're looking at the 5 drives to the downside, sorry, 3 drives, so 1, 2, and then 1 more to the downside, and we can look at reversing this momentum. So that's where my head's at with that pair. Moving on to CADJPY. If we take a look at what's been happening, so again, I've been looking out for some sell-off conditions. I do still want to see price reach into this zone here, so 77.8, even lower to 77.4. My desired target is 77 on the dot. I just want to see price, kind of get more momentum in the play. So the way I'm looking out here is pretty much this channel in the market slightly being respected. You can see oversold conditions here. If you pull out the fib, slightly overbought, but not so much. So we could see price possibly kick up to the upside one more time, because I want to see the RSI divergence get into play, and then we can get that push to the downside. So something like this, possibly, that's what I'm looking out for as a possible scenario. But again, my long-term bias is towards the downside. I want to see price push lower than what is currently projected out. So last week we could see, we've had the stall, a lot of consolidation here. So what I think could happen next week is the next move to the downside could be happening, midweek. I think that's what could be the opportunity, but pretty much looking for downside moves. Moving on to New Zealand dollar to the Japanese yen. So we can see this downside trend that we've got here. We can keep an eye out for this and see how price reacts to this. But again, we just want to see how price can, if it does come into here, then we can push lower. But ultimately, I want to see price push one more time to the downside. If we can get past the low here, so roughly at 68.6 lower, something like this, that would be my outlook for this pair, just for price to push lower, and then we can start to look for the next long-term move, and I do believe it's come soon. So within this range, between this zone, my next move is to break this downtrend, and we could be looking at a push to the upside. So reason for this is the 3 drive, so 1 drive, 2 drive, and then the 3 drive, so the third one, and then that's the momentum where it's going to weaken out, and then we could look for that next push to the upside and absolutely smash to the upside. That's where I'm looking out for this pair, and pretty much the last final pair that we're going to be looking for today, because we're going to cover the next 2 pairs for tomorrow, is AUDJPY. So again, same sort of scenario here. I'm using this downtrend here as just a nice guidance tool to use, and again, I'm pretty much using this area of the market to indicate us if price does come to our downtrend, are we going to push higher, are we going to push lower, and ultimately we could be looking out for some scenario like this and then a push lower. But if we do get a push lower straight away, then there's no concern there. It's all about picking your opportunities as much as you can. But if we can get a push into the upside, possibly if we can test this downtrend, it'll be a great scenario to take a trading opportunity from with confidence here. We do also have a significant number here as well, so 76 on the dot. That psychological level in confluence with the downtrend could give us a nice tradable opportunity, and pretty much looking to take out this low, so roughly 74, so I believe that's around 200 pips, so great opportunity if we can get in to do so. And then I'm just going to throw it in here if this does happen early on in the week. If we do take out this low, I'll be looking out for the next phase of the market cycle, which is consolidation, and then I'll be looking for moves to the upside. So looking to break this downtrend and see if we can push and break higher. So pretty much that's all I wanted to cover out for this week. I hope you did enjoy this video. There was a lot of insight here. I tried to keep it a bit more straightforward and straight towards the point, because I know you guys, your time is valuable. If you are new to this channel or you're a new trader, we do have a trading group that you can join. Link is in the description, and also our social media is there as well. So if you want to ask us a question, feel free to check us out and get in contact with us. So hopefully, guys, you made it all the way to the end of this video. If you did, smash that like button, make sure you get subscribed, and see you guys all in the next one.